Dun, 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 dun.
Hello,
Dun,
happy
dun,
campers.
dun.
I'm Spike,
I'm Chris.
and we are geeking out, and this is Aftermath. We are looking at Indiana Jones and the Pile of Bones. Good golly, has there been any movie that has just been dragged through the mud like this one? I mean, people have been chattering about this for what, 2 years? Minimum? 3?
Yeah, but
4?
nothing good.
Keeps being reshot and rewritten and redone over and over. Last we heard, Indiana Jones was supposed to die in this film and be replaced with his female sidekick, which just happened to be yet another Kathleen Kennedy clone. KKK. But we will, this one has actually seen the film. I'm going to let him do the review, and then I'm going to cuss Kathleen Kennedy out the way she should have been cussed 15 years ago. Chris, have at it. You tell
All
me.
right. First of all, spoilers. I will give you some spoilers
through all of these.
I'm not going to tell you everything, but there's some spoilers. So,
Spoiler.
if you ever wanted to see your favorite hero ever and his friends grow up so old that they're in a nursing home and they're going on one last adventure, well, this is it. This is it. Technically, almost. That's what it felt like to me. Oh my goodness. I love Indiana Jones. I've always loved Indiana Jones. The first 3 movies to me are pure magic. The 4th one was absolutely garbage. And this one is right up there with it. This was his last hurrah. And it really, it failed so much. So let me get into it, okay? Spoilers again. Indy is now old. In case you remember from the last one, he has a son, which is played by Shia LaBeouf. He's married to, what's her name?
Marion Ravencroft or something like that.
So they got together. Well, in this one, not anymore. They did do something right. They killed off Shia LaBeouf. Apparently, he enlisted to piss off his father and got killed.
Nothing wrong with that.
Which ruined their marriage. And now, Indy is now a drunk. And he lives in an apartment to where at 8 a.m., he's waking up by some, how would you call them back in the 60s? Oh, yeah, hippies that decide to throw parties so early. That's right. He's an old, brittled, broken man is what he is. He's retiring from teaching. He's moving on to what? Nothing really. And his granddaughter decides to, or goddaughter, whatever. Yeah, goddaughter. Shows up because her dad and Indy went on an adventure together, and there was a piece of item that they stole from the Nazis, and it apparently has to do with like time travel. That's right. Time travel. That's the doll of destiny.
Timey-wimey stuff.
So, anyway, she comes into the picture. She's like, hey, remember that thing that you and my dad did? I want it. Do you know where it is? And he's like, why do you want something like that for? That drove your dad crazy. And all that stuff. Well, apparently she's also being followed by a Nazi, by the CIA, because the CIA is also working with the Nazi for some reason, even though they know he's a Nazi, but yet the Nazi guy, is apparently also worked on the shuttle that sent the people to the moon. By the way, it was around that area, so like they just now came back from the moon. So, yeah, I don't know. I honestly couldn't follow that. There was a bunch of stuff going on there. But anyways, so they're after the Dial of Destiny because the Nazi guy is really obsessed with it, like they all are. And the granddaughter is a pain in the butt. She has left Indy to die twice in the movie. but still, Indy escapes somehow. And there's a kid in it that is useless as crud. Like, useless. Like, I don't even know why this kid is in this movie. He doesn't do anything. You think he's going to do something, but you're just sitting there like, how are you going to do this? How? It makes no sense. But, to go on with this, we do have Sully. Sully comes in, played by Rhys Davis. I can't remember his first name.
John Rhys Davis.
John, yeah. He's back. Sully is back with a family, but they migrated from Egypt over to the United States, and now he's a cab driver. So, yeah, again, your favorite heroes are old, and this is where they ended up. And it's sad. It's really sad. You don't want to see your heroes living like this, you know? Anyways, they go on this adventure. This happens. It's pretty much a cat and mouse game. And what makes me so angry about this movie is that Indiana Jones is the backseater. It's all her and this kid doing stuff, and he's just there to be like, stop it. And they're like, why should we listen to you? You're an old man. Trust me. This kid in this movie, all he does in this movie is fuss about how old everybody is and why we're listening to them. And it's like, dude, these people have been through so much that you have no idea. So why are you even here? You're useless. You're bringing nothing to the table. At least this guy's punching bad guys. He's punching Nazis, for crying out loud. Short Route did more stuff than what you did. Seriously. It just angers me so. I don't know how many times Indy has gotten punched, shot, blown up, still going, but they all focus on the granddaughter. And it's like, why? This is an Indiana Jones movie, not a you movie. It's, made me so angry. Now, I will get to the huge climax part here. The climax part, if you remember, if you watched the last Indiana Jones 4, the Crystal Skull thing, if you watch that, and if you're like me and thought the whole alien thing was way out there, wait until you see this, because they actually find out that the Dial of Destiny does do time travel, but instead of the Nazi guy using it and going back to where he was wanting to go to, it ends up skipping all the way back to the Roman days. That's right. Roman ships and whatever war that was is happening. And yeah, they go back in time. They literally go back in time. I kid you not. So Indy is laying on the beach at whatever year that was. And he's like, leave me here. I'll die here. And she's like, no, you can't, and all that stuff. And I was like, are you serious? This is how you're going to go out? This is how you're going to go out. Spoilers again. It doesn't happen that way. She ends up knocking him out because he didn't want to go home because he didn't have nothing there. She ends up knocking him out. He wakes up in his bed back in New York City, and all is well. And yeah, that's pretty much the movie. This was horseshit. So much. It killed my hero. Ooh. There's only 3 Indiana Jones movies that exist to me. and it ends in The Last Crusade. These last two don't exist. I'm fed up with how Hollywood does this stupid stuff. Don't know how to tell a good story, and they, you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay.
Remember, you are on heart medication.
I do. I know. I got. You know what? I'm just going to leave it there. You said.
Okay, hold on. Before I get started, and I'm going to be going for a little bit. The rule of 5. 5 is Saturday night with a date. 4 is afternoon movie. 3 Blu-ray. 2 on Netflix. 1 on Pluto TV. And I'm guessing 0 not even drunk or high.
I will
Can
never
you get
watch
drunk
this.
enough to watch this again?
No.
So we're talking like -1 now.
Like the beginning of the movie, you have about maybe 15, 20 minutes of a real Indiana Jones doing his Indiana Jones stuff. And then after that, nothing. He's old, brittled, broken, and he's backseating.
I've been hearing that. The first 15 minutes are good, then everything else is utter crap.
It's kind of like I can't remember which Pirates of the Caribbean it is, but there's one where it has like mermaids and I think Blackbeard and all that stuff. That movie had like 4 storylines going on at one thing, and Jack Sparrow was just there. And it was like, what? Like,
yeah, to get the rubes in the door. Yeah.
Like you can have like all these storylines are good, but like you could have done these without Jack Sparrow. Like you could have done these movies and just called them something else.
No.
Jack Sparrow's just there. And that's what this movie was, because it was like Indiana Jones is just there.
You couldn't have had that movie without Jack Sparrow, because Jack Sparrow is the only reason people showed up for the movie. These people are not storytellers; they are activists.
Well,
Okay.
whatever they suck.
I'll get over that, and I'll get into that in just a minute. Go ahead, make your point.
But let me tell you for an example. Okay, there's a moment where Indy and Sully are standing there at the cab, and he's like, Indy's like, I gotta go do this. I don't want to do it, but I gotta go do it. So he's walking away. The music's playing, and Sully goes, "Give him hell, Indiana Jones!" in this nice, powerful moment, and then it gets interrupted by a car almost hitting him. And I'm like, what? Why did you do that? That was a great moment. Like, it was a small moment. It didn't really mean much. But to me, as an Indiana Jones fan, just having Sully give that moment of, like, encouragement, and you hear the music, and it gets interrupted by Indy almost getting hit by a car, and the music stops. And he's like, and walks away. Like, why? It just,
I'll hold my hand up. Chris, who hates rhetorical questions? Who has 2 thumbs and hates rhetorical questions? I do. Why would they do this? Why would they do this? Hold on. There is a reason why.
because they don't like good stuff.
No, they don't like good stuff. They would know good stuff if it landed in their laps. Read The Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 2. They had a good thing land right in their lap. Kathleen Kennedy actually tried to do away with this. She had nothing to do with The Mandalorian. Got this nice thing in her lap. And then what does she do? She decides to stick her fingers in Season 3 and ruins it. Let me explain something about Kathleen Kennedy, okay? Kathleen Kennedy, the reason she is a thing is because she was Steven Spielberg's producer, okay? She is Frank Marshall's wife. Frank Marshall, for those of you who don't know, is a TV producer. He was in the industry for years and years. You'll see his name on all kinds. Happy Days, Mork and Mindy, Laverne and Shirley, Love American Style. It just goes back. He did all of these classic shows. He's been married to Kathleen Kennedy for years. She didn't learn a thing from it. Kathleen Kennedy has been working with Steven Spielberg since roughly 1980, whatever, when he founded Amblin Entertainment. Spielberg founded Amblin Entertainment. and he hired Kathleen to be his producer. So that way he could focus on, that way Steven Spielberg could be on the set, directing things, telling a story, not just with script, but visually, with sound effects, and with all these other things. He could creatively take control, and Kathleen Kennedy could sit in the office the way she wants to and sign the checks to pay for it all. Okay, this is what a producer does. A producer pays for the set, a producer pays for the camera, a producer pays for the crew, a producer pays for the cast, and then they get their name at the end of the episode, at the end of the movie. Okay, that's what a producer does. That's what Kathleen Kennedy did. She was the one who rubber stamped the checks that Steven Spielberg made sure wouldn't bounce. She learned nothing about storytelling from him either. When Disney bought Lucasfilm, they wanted her along to take care of things because she's been with Frank Marshall. She's been Frank Marshall's wife for years. She's been Steven Spielberg's producer for years. We can just turn this over to her and that'll take care of everything. One of the worst mistakes in Hollywood history is giving Kathleen Kennedy the keys to Lucasfilm. Okay, right up there with giving Kevin Feige the keys to Marvel. Okay, stupid. If you look at how she ruined Star Wars and how she ruined Indiana Jones, take a quick look at those two. What does the sequel trilogy of Star Wars have to do with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny? What do they have in common? It's not hard. Think about main characters.
I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on how horrible this.
The correct answer, they're both Kathleen Kennedy XPs. Kathleen, listen, everything Kathleen Kennedy touches turns to shit, okay? No argument. Kathleen Kennedy hires fanfic writers. Think about this. Look at everything Kathleen has done for Disney over the last, God, it's been 10 years now. Everything she's produced for the last 10 years, tell me it's not fan fiction. Okay? Some of you don't know what fan fiction is, and God bless you, you should never try to find out. Okay? There are two things. The one property in Hollywood that is absolutely lousy for fan fiction is Star Wars. Star Trek a close second, but it's mainly Star Wars. Every fanfic writer just has to insert themselves into their script, into their story, and then it just becomes all about them. This is called the Mary Sue syndrome. Talk about Mary. It's been a while since we talked about Mary Sue's. They actually tried to make that a slur. Kathleen Kennedy used Mary Sue, and she can suck on it all night long like a sucker. Okay, now Kathleen Kennedy knows nothing about storytelling, but I guarantee you she has never had a check bounce at Disney. Have you ever heard of anybody work on any of these projects complaining about not getting paid on time? Kathleen Kennedy is a pencil pusher. She's a bean counter. She is there to make sure that she doesn't even buy the cameras. She points to somebody from the camera department and says, go get cameras for this thing. That's what Kathleen Kennedy does. That's what she's good at. She's a bean counter. She's a pencil pusher. She's a bean pusher. That's what she is. Not a storyteller. Again, these things are all fan fiction. Look at this film. Okay? Look at this film. The first 15 minutes you said was really good, right?
First 15, yes.
First 15 actually got Indiana Jones right. Now I'm guessing they de-aged him or something.
They did, but I will admit they did a really good job.
That's just it. It's there. The tools are there. When you have somebody who is passionate about the property, they will take care of it because they don't want to be remembered as the fool who screwed it up. They don't want to be Kathleen Kennedy. The guy who, and I guarantee you it's a guy, okay? Maybe a chick wrote the first 15 minutes. I guarantee it was probably a guy.
Who directed it? James Mangold, which is also really disappointing because James Mangold has done a lot of great work.
Hold on. How many directors does this film have? Okay, you can say you can say it's James Mangold's fault. It's not James Mangold's fault. This one particular movie has been snake bit for a decade, ever since Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. They were determined they were going to do this because when Disney bought Lucasfilm, there were two things they wanted. They wanted Star Wars films, they wanted Indiana Jones films, because to them that's Lucasfilm. They got a bunch of Star Wars stuff out, couldn't get anything out on Indiana Jones. The problem's not James Mangold. There have been so many directors, so many writers involved with this because Kathleen Kennedy puts them in and pulls them out, puts them in and pulls them out, puts them in and pulls them out. Again, what a producer does. Staffing decisions. If I know you don't really pay a lot of attention to Dictor von Doomcock, Overlord DVD. He's a YouTube guy who reports rumors and stuff coming out of Disney. He reported last year that Indiana Jones was supposed to die, that the chick was supposed to pick up his fedora and then go through time substituting in his place through all 4 of the movies that have been made so far.
That did not happen, thank goodness.
The reason that did not happen is because Dictor von Doomcock made it public. And the public is like, you're full of crap. And Disney, actually stepped in and overrode Kathleen Kennedy and forced her to change the ending. That's why you got the sudden snap ending where Indy wakes up in his apartment with Marion, and it's a happy ending and stuff, because that was ordered by Bob Iger. He demanded it happen because people started complaining.
Is honestly a good thing, because I will also tell you, it was really cute to see Indy and Marion just standing there in the kitchen doing the whole, like, she's like, where does it hurt? And if you don't remember, in the first movie, it was like here, and they would kiss the boo-boo, and then it would end up here. And
yeah,
it was cute to see that again. But that's all.
Again.
That's all.
But you got a bunch. I talked about this as fan fiction. These are people who don't understand the characters. Can't even call this one fan fiction at some points, because nobody involved with the production actually knows anything about Indiana Jones. I mean, look around. Where are the good stunts? They're in the first 15 minutes.
Yes.
Where's the character development? First 15 minutes. Where's the fun stuff? First 15 minutes. Indiana Jones is supposed to be fun. Okay? This is fun. Just like the old Republic serials and stuff it was based on back in the 20s and 30s and 40s. Those were fun. They were fun, popcorn, throwaway things. That's what these are at their best. You said that to you there are 3 movies. To me, there's 1 movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark. It is the only one of those movies I like. And I admit I've never seen Last Crusade. But, no, I've never seen Last Crusade. But I have seen the other 3, and I agree. The second one, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That one sucked ass. Okay. The 4th one, Crystal Skull, sucked ass. I'm not going to see this 5th one. I know it's on.
We got to watch Last Crusade.
It is Last Crusade. Here's the other thing. All 4 of these Indiana Jones films are now available for free on Pluto TV. You can watch them on demand anytime in the month of July. Keep an eye out for them. The
next Sunday, that's what we're doing.
For me, the only good one has been the first one. Okay, which is why I don't want to see this one. I've heard too much bad stuff about it, and quite frankly, I stopped caring about the character in 1983, 4, whenever the first one came out. 82, when the first one came out. That's when I stopped caring about Indiana Jones, because when I saw the Temple of Doom, I was like, ugh.
See, I was a big fan of. I liked all 3 of those, but I was also a big fan of the TV miniseries / movie, I guess you would call it, called the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. I actually loved those.
That one was actually better than any of the other movies. That was the one that came closest to actually catching Raiders of the Lost Ark.
So So I really, that's why I like really love Indiana Jones, and this, due to the fact that this is his last movie, it just hurts so much that this is the way he went out.
Yeah.
You know, like it just hurts so much that this was not glorious an adventure film that we deserved and should have gotten.
Understand something. This will not be the last Indiana Jones film. It'll be the last one with Harrison Ford. They'll reboot and remake Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh yeah.
I hope not.
Oh yeah.
There was a symbolism at the end of this movie that may have hinted that nobody will ever, because they tried to do that with Indiana Jones 4, where it was like Indy dropped his hat and Shia LaBeouf went to go pick it up, and Harrison Ford got the hat before he did and was like, "Don't think so, kid," and walked away.
That was a reshoot, by the way.
This one, his clothes is on a hanger outside of the apartment in the city, and his hat's hanging there. And then as soon as the screen was going black, you saw his hand reach out there and grab it and bring it back in, like kind of like a symbolism, like nobody's taking over my spot. Like,
I'm done with it yet.
Like, nah.
They'll reboot Indiana Jones. Probably get Ezra Miller to play him or something. But anyway, two last points. Matter of fact, okay. One point leads into the next. Okay, we were talking about, it'd be one thing. The Star Wars movies Kathleen Kennedy made were fan fiction. This Indiana Jones had very few people who actually, I doubt, maybe a quarter of the people who worked on this film ever actually saw an Indiana Jones movie. I guarantee none of them watched Raiders of the Lost Ark because it's too problematic. All they know the formula. Okay, they knew the formula. They knew there's a guy, there's Indiana's there, there's got to be a kid there, there's got to be a female there, they got to fight Nazis, and he's got to wear a hat, a fedora. That's all they know. That's all the people in charge of this movie know about Indiana Jones. He wears a hat, he fights Nazis, there's got to be a kid, there's got to be a chick. That's all they know. So Kathleen Kennedy inserts herself as the chick, and then she's going to make the chick take over as Indiana Joan or something. I don't know. But that leads us to my last one, and that'll be the end of this rant because we're already a half hour into this review. Good heavens. Toxic Crusaders, and I'm not talking about the trauma film. Toxic Crusaders, these are the people, they don't want to entertain, they don't even want to tell a story. They want to make a point and force you to, not only force you to see it, but force you to celebrate it. I've said about this before. In order to get people to pay attention to their phony baloney points and their phony baloney message, they have to use an existing icon that people actually want to see in order to be exposed to their crap. Okay? People will not pay attention to environmental crap for nothing because people have gotten to the point they realize it's either A, all phony, B, all overblown, or C, does even more damage than what we were doing to begin with to the environment. But if we put a bunch of blue kitty cats on film and put them in loincloths and call it Avatar, people will watch it. Tell me when I lie, as the man says, tell me when I lie. Okay? You got feminists. Rich Limbaugh was talking about feminazis back in the 80s, kids. This stuff was tired then. This stuff was tired when Bill Clinton got elected. Freudian slop. Back in 1992, feminism was tired, but we've got to rehash it. So nobody will pay attention to my feminine character. Let me take over the Star Wars franchise, get people hot and bothered to see Luke and Han and Chewbacca and, oddly enough, Leia, who is, let's be honest, one of the feminist icons of Hollywood, basically blown off so that we can get the Kathleen Kennedy XB in there. Rey Skywalker, Palpatine, whatever the hell she actually is. Don't care, but hey, at least she's getting a new trilogy. anything. It's bait and switch. Is basically all it is, kids. It's bait. This movie was bait and switch. The bait was Indiana Jones, and then they switched it out for whoever this hoe was. Whoever this. She's a hoe. Okay? She's throwing her body out there for money on film. Okay, she's not humping anybody, so that doesn't mean she's not a whore, but she is selling herself for cash. You think anybody's going to give her work after this? Helena Bottom Carter, whatever her name is? I don't know. I don't even know what this chick's name is. I don't care. Phoebe Waller Bulldog, something. She is done the instant Kathleen Kennedy gets fired. Kathleen Kennedy cannot find work. Phoebe Bulldog is not going to find any work. Nobody's going to hire her. But bait and switch. You suckers came in. But here's the thing. It doesn't work anymore. It's not working anymore. Nobody's watching the Star Wars films anymore. Nobody's watching the Marvel films anymore. Nobody's watching this Indiana Jones film, apparently. Nobody's watching the DC films, which have turned into Trek. Nobody's watching any of these things because the bait and switch isn't work. The audience is catching on and they can't be fooled anymore. They're not giving you any more chances. You have destroyed all of these profitable franchises for at least a generation. Star Wars, Star Trek, all of it. Doctor Who, gone. So you make your bait and switch, so you make your phony baloney points. And that's what this all comes down to. Indiana Jones 5 will go down as the death of the message movie. This will be the one where the bait and switch, this will be the final bait. I'm not going to say it's going to be the final bait and switch movie, but this will be the one where they realize it doesn't work anymore. We'll have to burn through the rest of the stuff. Whatever doesn't get canceled by the writer's strike, we'll have to burn through more Trek. But I'm telling you, by about Christmas of 2024, all this stuff will go out the pipeline just like a bad burrito. And maybe we'll be able to start actually telling stories again. So that's my take. So we've each had about 15 minutes to rant. Any final thoughts on this? Exactly. So Chris gives it, you give it a 0 or a -1? Will this be our first -1 ever?
Sure.
He cares so little about this movie. He's like, I don't care. This is our first ever -1 film. It is a waste of space. Would you actually go, Chris, after seeing this film, did you want to go out and set fire to the popcorn stand?
You know, the funny thing is that I've had many people be like, I heard it wasn't good. And I was like, yeah, but I've seen them all. I have to see how it ends. And that's the thing with me. It's like I have to, if I'm there from the beginning, I have to see it all the way through, even if it's bad. Because I didn't go in seeing this movie going like, oh, this is going to be the best Indiana Jones ever. I had a feeling that it was going to be horrible, but I wanted to see Indiana Jones. That's all I wanted to see was Indiana Jones.
Got one last question before we wrap this, Chris. Do we give this the Will Smith Award? I won't even call it the Will Smith Award. We'll call it the Robot Spider Award. We'll name it after the robot spider in Wild Wild West, where the beloved wife still wants a refund 30 years later. Chris, do you want a refund of your movie ticket?
Yes.
Okay, so it is official. Geeking Out gives Indiana Jones and the Dial of Dookie the precious, very rare, -1 score complete with Robot Spider Award, where Christopher wants his money back.
My part would be more adventurous in this movie.
On that, I'm getting out of this room. Till next time, I'm Spike. He's
Of
Farkas.
course.
Y'all keep on geeking out. Bye.